Hola, buenos días, bienvenido.
Hello, good morning and welcome. We are going to start the session again. Thank you very much for being here. As I was saying earlier, I am quickly going to introduce the innovation network called Uninova, which is the University Network for Innovation. As I said earlier, my name is Drt4all2013. I am a social researcher at the Research Center for Social Studies at TechnoSite. First of all, I would like to mention the objectives for this innovation network and what it has to offer. First of all, our key goal for this University Network for Innovation in Accessibility issues is to contribute to a change of paradigm. How will we do this? Through fostering knowledge transfer to the third sector, and also through developing and fostering collaborative projects that have to do with accessibility, projects in which disabled people can participate directly. What can this platform offer? This platform offers a collaboration structure that relies on ONCE Foundation and University. It's a competitive development system for initiatives that have to do with research in the field of accessibility. How do we do this? Apart from having this structure based on Fundación ONCE and University, we have a series of virtual tools that foster the creation of future cooperation projects with final users, which are the disabled people, social organizations that represent these individuals,
Universidad.
and the university. All this to create projects that can finally develop services, technologies, or accessible products. All these tools are included in this collaborative portal that you can find in www.uninova.es. This is the start page. And here I would just like to highlight the registration area and two specific sections, which are the idea list and the idea process. This is something that I will quickly elaborate on shortly. The Uninova network is a collaborative portal, and in order to have a collaborative portal, you need people to register in the platform, to set up a community, to collaborate in those, in the creation of those inclusive projects. Specifically, in the platform, we have differentiated three roles: the idea creators, then the co-designers, and then the validators. First, and most importantly, we have the idea creators. Idea creators in Uninova are university researchers that present their idea to the Uninova network. What do we understand an idea to be? It is an innovative concept in technologies and products and services which are inclusive and that will improve the life capacities of those people that have a disability. So on the basis of this idea, we can put together working parties and co-design teams to elaborate on the idea and to create accessible products. The role of co-designers. Who are co-designers, or who do we call co-designers? These are people who are interested in collaborating with that idea. It may be people who are part of the research group of the person who proposed this project, or they can be people from third sector entities which are interested in this project, or even disabled people who want to state their opinion regarding this idea. The third user group that we take into account are validators. Validators are persons with a disability that will collaborate directly with the idea through the assessment or through the validation of this idea. These three roles are not separated. One single person can take on the three roles, and any sort of different combination may happen. If you are a co-designer and you can create an idea, or if you want to validate an idea or give your formal opinion in the idea process, then you can be a validator too. So for these three roles, there's one single registry. depending on the decision that we make on the web page. For instance, if I want to post an idea, I will be an idea poster, and if I want to validate an idea, I will be a validator. But for the time being, there's one single registry. So what is the idea process that I mentioned earlier? The idea process is the way in which we dynamize the network. This process has four stages. There's a first stage, which is the idea stage, where you register the idea in the portal. A university researcher or someone related to the university can register their idea or their project. It could even be a project that their research group has already developed or started developing. It can also be master's courses studies, students who want to introduce their master in the network as an idea, and in the network they will be able to receive the opinions from the community who understands that at that level. Once we have an idea, the next step is to create teams that will revolve around that idea, especially taking into account co-designers and validators. Once we have created the group, we will broadcast this knowledge through the co-design wall, as we call it. I will show you a series of screenshots that will illustrate the different concepts that I have mentioned. This is an image of the registration template to propose your idea. This is a project file in which those people who are not yet registered in the platform will be able to see that idea list and the adequate project file. There, the idea creator can briefly explain what the project or the idea is all about, and everything that they want to broadcast to the Uninova community. Once we have the idea creator needs subscribers, or co-designers as we call them, so he will specify who can join in on his idea or not. So he's the owner of his idea and he can have this decision capabilities. So we can sign up to different ideas, but we need to wait for the designer to accept our proposition. So this is the screenshot for that step. This is a simulation of the co-design wall. Here we have tools that serve the purpose of dialogues. We have forums, we have discussion threads, we have arguments, we can upload files, other types of files, and other multimedia objects. For the time being, the Polytechnics University of Madrid has uploaded an idea, so for the beginning of the year we will have this idea available. And if you're from the university environment, you can also register your ideas and develop them through our platform. This is another documentation area offered among the multiple possibilities in this platform. In order to further explain the idea creation process, I will talk about the validation queries or consultations. This is a landmark within this project. It happens when the team has already been put together, the co-designer team that will revolve around that idea is already put together, and now there is a workflow, there is a community. So this is something that we call control or assessment, and this assessment is done in order to create incentive or to voice people with disabilities in case that they're not sufficiently represented at that point in time in the process. So validators will make a selection, adapting questionnaires or consultations to the idea proposed by the idea creator, and therefore this questionnaires are made available online. So we gather the opinion of users and we put together a research from the social research department that will utter the comments mentioned by users. So we continue developing the idea. The idea creator will rely on the results of the consultation with the validators and with the co-creators. And the last stage, the fourth stage, will be the validation stage. It's not really about closing the idea and saying that these people will no longer continue to be in the platform. The idea can be available at any time. This idea creation process gets shaped as we see that real activity arises in the platform. We will issue the basis for participation and provide further explanations. So in your website you have everything that I'm explaining here, which is what Uninova is, what the idea creation project is all about, and guidelines as to how to use the platform. Therefore, the idea validation would happen when, after the phase in which the opinions of users have been taken into account and the ideas have adapted to these opinions, then this phase is about how these opinions have been integrated into the idea. And from then on, we will carry out a validation process. For instance, if it's a technology, perhaps validation will be carried out through user tests, through co-design teams. But if it's a service, perhaps discussion groups will validate. We will carry out in-depth interviews with people with a disability to see that this service is fully devoted to the needs of people with that type of disability. And thus, we managed to really integrate users within the whole project. As I said earlier, for this idea creation project, we need to be in contact. We need communication tools, and we need to make this dynamic. From our social research department, we undertake this task to dynamize people, to find people who want to register as co-designers and validators. And we also have tools, which are the social networks. So along those lines, we have our LinkedIn account and our Twitter account. We have many followers already. And now, at the beginning of the year, as I was saying earlier, and with our sight on the next year too, we want to be able to create a community and for projects to further develop within the platform. So for this purpose, I encourage you to become our followers and to keep track of our updates. The tool, apart from having the social network as a tool, it also has an email facility within the platform once you register. I wanted to give you a brief overview because this is a presentation, not a workshop. Nevertheless, I did want to give you some time for you to pose questions or anything you want. Thank you very much. Are there any questions? I didn't make myself clear, perhaps? Hello, good morning. Can you hear me? Yes. I wanted to ask you about whether you've had any sort of contact with universities, in the sense that you've received requests to collaborate with this project. For instance, I am a master's student and I want to present my master's dissertation that has to do with disability issues. And I try to develop a piece of research, and apart from the users' opinions and from the opinions received in this portal, is the university engaged? Can the university be engaged and become in contact to foster this or to collaborate in a certain manner?
Yes,
one of the objectives is to create a solid structure between Fundación 11 and the university. We have already got in contact with universities. We are at the broadcasting stage. We are disseminating information. We are attending conferences and congresses. We are really encouraging people to register in the platform. If you're part of the university, be it because you're a master's students, postgraduate students, or because you're part of a research group at the university, you can register, and I highly encourage you to sign in any of the different manners that I've explained to take on any possible role. Thank you. It caught my eye that it seems that at the third stage you take into account users' opinions, users of the possible projects that will be developed. I wanted to ask you, at some point in the project, or when you launched the idea, did you perhaps take into account that perhaps the development should have a starting point, the needs, instead of the ideas? It's like an inverse process. It seems that these ideas normally come from research areas that have carried out a certain analysis. We don't know if this analysis is based on needs or not. What Uninova wants to do is to ensure that that happens. So the first consultation with validators has to do with that need detection. And that's done through questionnaires. And then the last phase is the one where we make sure whether or not those needs are being fulfilled that were given to us at the beginning of the process. I hope I answered your question. Hello. Good afternoon. I'm Juan Mari Calvay. I work at the Polytechnic University of Madrid. I think one of the ideas that you received this morning comes from us. So my question has to do with the sustainability of the platform. You didn't talk about costs. Is this going to entail any long-term cost for those who are proposing the ideas, or is there some sort of compensation given to users that participate in the platform through offering their validations? How do you plan this on the long term? How is it sustainable? We are just starting. And in the long term, this is a Fundación 11 platform. Fundación 11 is fostering it. An incentive for research groups is doing field work, being able to contact users, being able to dynamize the project. If you're talking about gratifications or incentives to validators, that's a different thing. Depending on the projects and on the time that they're launched, both consultations and both validations, we will weigh that out. From our social research study, we'll take that into account when we talk about participation. We are just starting, as I said earlier. Also, the platform is at a very early stage, and it's open to suggestions. So please send your suggestions to us through the contact email that you have on the platform. Nevertheless, yes, we are taking that into account. Fundación 11 is the one supporting the platform currently, and we take into account a future compensation for disabled people who participate in fieldwork activities. I'm Juan de la Rosa from the Valladolid University. I have a pragmatic question. I'm very interested in this platform. From our lab, we develop ideas of this sort, and we find a problem. And let's see if we can find support along regarding this. We developed a glove for tactile communication that we explained in the previous talk, and we would really like it. It's a foundation wanted to support us, or the investigator who developed this project, would this serve the purpose of providing visibility, and perhaps would a foundation give us economic support through this? Because we want to push forward our initiatives, and this is the type of problems that we encounter nowadays. Yes, indeed, the economic issue arises once again. I don't have information regarding this. The support for the platform provided by the platform, has to do with accounting with disabled people's opinion. So currently there are no economic enhancements foreseen for future development. I wouldn't know how to answer your question, honestly. Thank you very much. My name is José Juan Martín. I come from the Polytechnic University of Madrid. I work with my colleague who was the previous speaker. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for this idea, because everything that has to do with putting together the third sector with the production fabric and universities is very important. I wanted to talk about the success possibility for projects that you undertake. I'm a researcher. I work on more formal research, first phase, second phase. Then we validate with a user panel which is predefined, or with a crowdsourcing tool. We want people who are visually impaired or people from the JAWS system, and this is how we validate. So if I launch my idea here, perhaps I will find that there are no validators, that there's no competitive environment. So what visibility could I obtain? What certainty could I have that my ideas will end up being validated through this platform? Well, the guarantee, once again, is Fundación 11 and its relationship with third sector entities. We have undertaken many projects. We have taken into account disabled people to validate our developments or our projects. And we already have our own users panel, which is made up of disabled people. So that's the guarantee.
Vale.
Interpreter apologizes, but apparently there are sound problems. We are not receiving any sound input. We will nevertheless translate the answer. It's about formalizing the relationship that Fundación 11 has with the university, to delve deeper and to make that knowledge transfer to the third sector, and also to get to know how it works, and also for those entities that service people with disabilities enter the community. So it's not just a bidirectional relationship. My name is Matias Sanchez, and I also work in the field of research. As I see it, this is a tool that's for working on the field. So, how many users can I find in this tool? Also on the basis of types, because if it's Fundación 11, I can take for granted that it would be people with visual impairment. And also about the universities, I wanted to ask something else. Each university here has a policy which is a bit like the Gollum theory. It's like their own, their precious project. So if I share my data with this tool, will it not be used to other universities? And of course, there are a series of characteristics that are for my project, and I don't want anyone to copy those characteristics. First of all, let me answer about the users. Fundación 11 works towards the integration of people with disabilities in general. I'm not part of Fundación 11. I work in one of its companies in a social research study center. And the type of research that we carry out covers all sorts of disabilities. So I hope I answered your first question. Now, regarding the second question, let's see. That type of limitations set by the very universities are limitations of those universities. If they don't want to share those ideas won't be developed. Only ideas that can participate in this portal will participate. So, for example, idea ownership. How do we deal with that? Idea ownership will be dealt with through Creative Commons licenses. Everything that is comprised in the platform, the ownership and the project development will be owned by the idea creator. Of course, there will be acknowledgement to co-designers. Okay, I understand. So as it stands today, because of the new law, especially that has to do with PhD research, it says that work needs to be published, made public. So as a creator, what's the profit for me? What's the benefit for me? Will you help me write articles? Will you help me go to conferences? So what's the advantage for the idea creator? Well, that's one of the incentives. Perhaps I should have said it. That's one of the incentives that Fundación 11 makes a commitment to. They want to foster idea creators and the project that has been created once it was introduced in the platform. It helps disseminate, it helps creating it, and it helps making it public. Good morning, my name is Carmen from the Complutense University. Is this of a national scope, I mean the platform, or is it an international scope? A few months ago, the 11 Foundation held the third conference regarding these issues. So what's the answer? No, it's at the national level for the time being. It seems that there are no further questions. Thank you very much for your questions. I know that there's a lot of uncertainty still regarding the project. We're just starting and we want to make it public and to disseminate as much as possible so that we can all together shape it, so that in the end we can create projects that can serve the purpose of including people with disabilities and to be advantageous in terms of accessibility. So thank you very much, and I hope I clarified some of your doubts.